Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I have a midweek special for you. This is a collab video with the LA-based guitarist John Storie. You might know him as part of the orchestra with Jeff Goldblum. He's a killing jazz guitarist and a great teacher as well. And so I asked him if he would be up for recording a series of videos teaching you chord melodies. And we're going to start right from beginner level, basic chord melodies, how to work on that, the very first few skills you need. So I'm going to let John teach the lesson, and we have a few more of these planned. Please leave your comments and suggestions, maybe future videos you'd like us to cover below in the comments. Hit the like button, and we'll see more from John. I'm hoping we can get some more of these midweek videos. I'm going to still be doing my Saturday lessons, but every now and then I'll drop in a extra lesson for you guys on Wednesday. So John, take it away.
Chord melody. All right. How do we do it? I think it's probably the number one question that jazz guitarists get asked between other jazz guitar players, other musicians, guitar students, people who come up and listen to you when you're playing a gig. You know, this chord melody approach to this instrument is so beautiful and so awesome. And it's a great tool for us to use when we're gigging. But how do we even begin if we've never done this before? I mean, a lot of us have sat and learned chords. A lot of us have learned melodies. So we want to combine these two. I mean, some melodies are just way too elaborate for us to get chords against all of them. Well, how about today we learn here on Jazz Memes how we can develop some better chord melody skills for us guitar players. And specifically, let's talk about ways that we can practice the right hand technique that we need in order to sound like we're playing actual chord melody lines. So to start, all right, let's take our common B-flat 12-bar blues, all right? The chords that are the most basic that we can use over this would be B-flat, then E-flat, B-flat, E-flat, back to B-flat, F, E-flat, B-flat with an F. Now, already, we're kind of playing a chord melody. I mean, if we listen carefully to this B-flat chord, there's a highest note. It's this. So the melody was just da 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 da. If we can find ways to, say, flip around our third and pinky here and go from the B-flat 7 to the B-flat 13, then we can get a on the top of this. So if I'm learning chord shapes, sometimes I want to think like, I wonder if B-flat 7 and B-flat 13, if I can use those together and maybe anchor a couple fingers while moving others. So anchoring is a technique we use in the left hand to keep fingers down. It's also a way that creates more sustain on our instrument. So if I go from, I have sustain in the bottom end. I can squeeze the chord each time I comp, and that's going to mimic more of how a piano player is playing. Right? And so you do kind of a combination of that. And that gives us the syncopation that we need in order to, well, accompany others. But when we're playing solo guitar, and like we're talking about today, chord melody treatments of songs, these are techniques that we use in order to make our instrument sound, whether it's more like a piano or more like a guitar, right? Sustain and holding the chords versus syncopating the chords. So step one to practice today with your chord melody, all right? And you can check out the PDF here. I'll give you a little PDF of this exercise. We're going to go B-flat, B-flat 13, B-flat, B-flat 13. By the way, when I say B-flat, I'm kind of defaulting to B-flat 7, right? Most jazz musicians, when we're talking about a chord, we're going to just automatically assume that it's a dominant 7th chord in many cases. So we've got that in the left hand. Well, what are we doing in the right hand? Well, right here, I've got a pick and I've got my fingers going. And I'm going to start with that because it's really good to practice your chord melody technique at first with your pick in your hand if you're a pick player, if you're somebody who uses the pick a lot, right? And the pick is going to be helping us with the bass. And then we've got fingers 2, 3, and 4, right? Middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger are going to help us get the rest of the chord. And right away, we want to practice separating bass and the rest of the chord. That rhythm is 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, right? So I'm getting a little bit of an offbeat syncopation with the chord and I'm getting the bass to be really grounded in the downbeats. E flat 9 chord, I can bar my third finger across the top 3 strings and get an E flat 9, E flat 13. Same kind of deal, right? And my pick can go between these 2 strings. Doesn't really matter, you know, we can sort of decide, are we going to make it sound more like we're really walking a bass line, or are we just going to be simply separating the lower bass note with the upper chord voicing? Now for the F chord, let's do the same thing. Right? So we've got, right here, we've got our F9, E flat 9, add the 13, B flat 7, B flat 13. Let's try and walk a blues and see how many times we can switch between these chords. And in the right hand, I've got my pick and my fingers. Ready? 1, 2, watch me. So that's with just a 12-bar blues and sort of a false melody or a secondary melody, just something that we're adding 2 notes on top, and it creates that sound that there's bass, chord, and some motion with the melody. I feel like chord melody really brings that out. You know, we want to make sure that it's not all chord. Obviously, the melody is really our most important point. In fact, I think Joe Pass once said in a clinic that these aren't actually chord melody arrangements us guitar players play. They're actually melody chord arrangements. The melody is the first thing we should be thinking about. So what's a good melody for us to practice this over? How about we try something like Autumn Leaves, right? So we've got Autumn Leaves. If I start with first chord A minor, all of those notes on the guitar, if I kind of put my hand in this position with first finger at the 5th fret, I can get those notes and maybe stretch my finger down here and get something that's pretty similar to that A minor chord that I might be playing like this, right? And right away I got off of that note and went to this. There I had to play the melody down here and then jump up here. Now that gives me an option to play that melody and the chord at the same time. I guess if I don't play G major 7 here, but I play it right here, it allows me to get that note on top of this. That's another thing we do with chord melody, is if I'm playing my E minor 9 or my E minor 7, I maybe don't want to just hang out on that chord. I've got some other fingers here that can make some motions, like this one, E minor 7, 6, flat 6, to just a regular E minor. So I lowered that finger too. chords separate of one another. Getting more elaborate with the melody. Okay, now I'm going to go back to trying to combine some of the melody with the chords. Now right there I had to learn that this is a D7, and this is kind of a D7. You can also think of it as an A minor to a G major 7. So I'm learning some voicings here that work on Autumn Leaves and learning technique in the left hand to keep that note on top, right? So let's review some things we've talked about here. The left hand, we can use it to mute and to hold bass notes and to create motion with other fingers, right? We can decide what are two notes that we can go between with one chord. We can use our right hand with the pick and fingers to get a really strong bass and then a separated chord that's syncopated on a different beat. We can do this with a 12-bar blues. We can also do it with a standard like Autumn Leaves, where we can start by playing just the melody and then the chords, and then adapting as much of the melody to the chord voicings that we already play as possible. I feel like it's really great to try this with tunes that you're very familiar with, and feel free to reach out here, and I can try to help you answer any questions that you might have if there's a particular tune that you're working on. So thanks for tuning in here on Jazz Memes, where we're talking about some chord melody for you guys today. Have a great day.